right, everybody, we're going to be taking a look at the 2009 Mitsubishi Eclipse. Now, from what I've said in the past 2 tries on this one tonight section, and we're going to hit the streets in this manual transmission Mitsubishi, son of a, is that this car here is kind of a legend with Mitsubishi that really kind of brought their brand up and got it more popular. You know, when the car came out back in the day with the Fast and the Furious and Paul Walker and all those great guys, Vin Diesel, and just you know what I'm talking about, they really brought Mitsubishi out and people started buying them like crazy. You know, it was probably a great time for the company in a whole because they were probably selling a lot of vehicles, but if you can remember, probably also a great time for aftermarket companies that sold parts for hooking up cars like this right here. Now again, this is a 2009, it's a GS, it actually is a manual transmission with a 4-cylinder engine, but not a turbo. The one you wanted back in the day was gonna be your turbo model Eclipse, because that was the car that got up and rolled out. And if I can remember properly, I think it was called like a GST or something like that. Anyways, let's have a little fun. It's getting ready to get dark, it's getting kind of cold outside, but I'll tell you one thing, folks, import tuner cars love it when it's cold outside. They can breathe and roll and feel good. But what we're going to do is this car is for sale here currently at my dealership. We're going to check out this 09, then we're going to take it out on the street and see how it does all these years later, because we're about to be hitting 10 years on this car coming up in a couple weeks. Stay with us. Everybody, so the 2009 Mitsubishi Eclipse GS manual transmission. This car back in 2009 retailed for around the $20,000 to $23,000 price range. If you wanted to bump up to a GT, it was anywhere from $23,000 to $26,000 depending on how the vehicle was equipped. They never offered, that I can believe, a turbo edition in this car, at least not from the research I've done today on it. So really, that was probably, to me, one of the reasons why a lot of people didn't buy that body style as much, because they wanted the turbo engines in them. So anyways, you know, it's still a great looking car all these years later. I'm going to go ahead and round it up to 10 because basically in January, it's going to be 2019. It is a 2009, so let's just say it's 10 years old. It probably really actually already is 10 years old because in the most cases, you know, vehicles are already sold and put out on the car lots at the new car dealership many months and months and months in advance before the actual year comes to fall while the car's out there on the lot. So, for instance, a 2009 model will probably already be out in 2008. Just like 2019s are already out in 2018. Let's go ahead and get the camera off the tripod for a minute and let's start looking at the vehicle. Alright everybody, so you know, I just want to let y'all know nighttime's probably one of my most favorite time to film cars, because I really think cars look good at night. You know, it's fun to see the lights on them and just check them out. So we pulled it in the back of the store back here up under this light to get a real good look at the actual vehicle. Now, of course, this is a pre-owned car that we bought at an auction this past Friday. We've already got the price up on the windshield there at $5,500. Looks like the car before it was actually here at our store was up at a Honda store in North Charleston, and obviously they couldn't sell it, so they went ahead and sent it to an auction. And you can guarantee you folks, I'm probably going to end up selling this car if I can, or if another salesperson doesn't sell it before me. But anyways, you know, the white paint on it is in still great shape, as you can see here. I wish we had another headlight fixed over there, but they probably just don't even know right now that there's a headlight even out on the car. We'll have to make that a little more aware to our mechanic in a little bit here after we get done filming tonight. But, you know, the front end, it's got that Eclipse look about it, but it just doesn't have that Eclipse look on the model that they made before this. But every car is going to have a body style change, and I remember when Eclipses, you know, had pop-up lights, and they even had one called a Talon back in the day as well. Anyways, the alloy wheels, you got 17-inch in size, looking pretty good, dark tinted windows. I've always liked how the Mitsubishi windows just kind of rake like this here and kind of point off right down in there, which looked always pretty sweet. It's a little chilly out here tonight, so my voice might get a little funky from time to time. I do apologize. But anyways, we got a sunroof up here. From my research looking online here just a minute ago about this car, what it says is MSRP on a GS was $20,249. It's got a 2.4 liter engine, and it has 162 horsepower at 6,000 RPM and 162 foot-pounds of torque at around 4,000 RPM. Taillights kind of look just like the headlights. You know, really the front and the rear of the car, it can really be kind of confusing looking. It has a look of it is like the front and the back are very similar on the design, aren't they? It really is. Anyways, you got that cool looking Eclipse logo there. Now this one, again, this is a for sale video at the end of the day. I know y'all are watching, you're like, man, we're getting a little information about the old school Eclipse, but it is a for sale vehicle, so I will point out dents, stings, scratches, and imperfections that I see. You know, one thing I'm noticing over 10 years time, it looked like this spoiler just didn't really hold up all that well, did it? You know, something happened here and it cracked off right in the middle, which is kind of odd. Look, you got that line right there, and look at that, boom, right in the middle, and then it's this over here, which is kind of like just a clear plastic material up underneath. No dual exhaust on this particular model. If you bumped up to a GT, you would get a V6 engine under there. Let's see what it says online about that V6. That was an MSRP of $24,149 back in the day with a 3.8 liter V6, 265 horsepower and 262 foot-pounds of torque with 18-inch wheels. Wow. So maybe you didn't have a turbo, right? It was all naturally aspirated. That's still a good bit of horsepower back in 09 for naturally aspirated engine that they put on these cars. Anyways, you do got power windows, power door locks. Let's see how the lighting on the interior is at nighttime. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and cut our headlights on. And obviously Mitsubishi added in some nice blue. You know, that blue I can remember back in the 2000s was a very popular interior color with the indiglows. They were super popular back in the day. You know, everybody wanted to have neons up under their seats, up under their footwells. You know, you do got some, you can't hardly see, but there's a little bit of silver going on there. You got that racing style bucket seat on the inside. Let's see if there's an interior dome light. Of course there is. The sunroof. And the good-looking racing seat. My friend Brandon, like I spoke about earlier, he had a set of, I think it was Recaros or Sparcos inside of his car, but these are very similar in style to the seats he had in his vehicle. Let's go ahead and hop in and take a look around a little bit. So the layout on the interior is very similar to the exterior. A lot of roundness going on. I mean, this all round here, you got these round, you know, vents all around the vehicle. Then up top, it rounds up there where you clock your temperature and your radio stations. It says it's got a Rockford Fosgate stereo in the car. Now, even though this is a 2009, the heat's still working great. Let's go ahead and give an AC test out to see how that's still working all these years later. The fans really blow nice and hard. Let's go ahead and turn the direction of them so I can get a good feel. Now that's nice to see because I've seen a lot of cars 10 years old where the fans don't hardly work worth a toot anymore, and so that's pretty nice to see. Let's go ahead and close our door up because we're getting ready to engage in this car and drive it. Let's cut our blinkers off. I want to hit the button. There we go. Hit it a little harder. Seems like AC, I feel something clicking on and off up under the engine. It's not getting extremely cold yet. It is on max AC though. The light is on. So anyways, we'll get back to that in a moment. Your e-brake here. It is a manual transmission. Okay. You got right here, storage right up in there. Nice big cup holders. And a pretty tiny back seat, to be honest with you. Just like any other American sports car or any sports car really. Doesn't have a whole lot of room in the back. Steering wheel, there you go. You know, Mitsubishi could have done a little better job on the steering wheel to make it a little more sportier, or even had, you know, some buttons in here or something. But maybe that was, well, back in the day, they just had these cruise control knobs situations going on there. So you didn't have audios and all that stuff on the steering wheels back in the day. Definitely had airbags. Now the mileage is what really kind of got my attention on this car. To be this age, the mileage is really low, as you can see there, 83,171. So, you know, really low mileage. I'm actually really surprised that the car didn't sell at the previous dealership that it was at. All right, guys, you know, I don't know how long that I was talking to myself for just a moment ago, but sometimes I have camera problems, man. If it ain't a battery dying on me, it's an SD card, and this seems to be a everyday problem that I have with camera situations. The next thing you know, I look at the camera and the screen's not on, or the card says it's full, and I've done been talking for a minute straight and really putting out some great information. But anyways, before I was so rudely interrupted by my Canon camera or SD card, I was talking about how car dealerships and how cars, you just can't post them up online and expect them just to sell. Sometimes it takes a salesman to get in there and really sell the sizzle of the vehicle and show people why a car like this, even though it's 10 years old, is still worth the $5,500 cash, and still kind of why it's a great vehicle to buy even today. We got a lot of cars on our lot out here that range anywhere from $1,000 to $5,000 to $8,000, and a lot of times they have issues where they need work done to them, whether it's cosmetic or mechanical, and somebody has to be able to be transparent and let people know what the deal is and still why it's worth the money. So anyways, that's kind of what I'm trying to do here tonight with this car, because I know there's a lot of people out there that would like to have a sports car, maybe a younger generation, but hey, not even a few weeks ago, I was at the gas station. There was a guy out there probably in his mid-40s that rode up in a GT Eclipse, and he absolutely loved it. And I was like, whoa. I'm like, man, just haven't seen one in quite some time. So anyways, let's get back in, and we're gonna do our test drive tonight in the Eclipse. So, you know, now I'm 38 years old, it does take a little more muscle to get inside a sports car. It sits down low, but I still enjoy it. You know, my mama drove Corvettes until she was in her late 40s, and it just kind of runs in the blood of having something sporty to drive. But anyways, like I was saying earlier, the mileage on this car really kind of got me excited. When I seen the car had 80,000 miles, I'm like, oh wow, that's really pretty low mileage on an 09, you know, to be 10 years old. So anyways, let's go ahead and see how this thing rides. I will tell you now that the car's been running for a little bit. The AC does work on it. There's not many things on the car that doesn't work. I think the only thing right now that I've noticed on it is it needs a new spoiler on the back, which I'm not sure how that goes because it doesn't look like it's screwed on or anything like that. It looks like it's built into the car, and it needs a headlight, which is a simple fix. Now, it is a manual transmission, so it could be a little more difficult to film and shift gears, but I'll do the best that I can tonight without wrecking this bad boy. But let's just cruise through the parking lot, get kind of comfortable with the vehicle first. You know, I always tell people, if you're going car shopping or looking for a vehicle, you know, sometimes it's best to just let the sales guy drive off the lot first, so you can kind of get a feel for the car and the gauges and just how the layout of the car is, and then get out and test drive it for yourself and see what you think. Because driving a car for the first time can be, especially if you've never driven that particular car before, it can be kind of nervous, and you can get nervous real quick or stressed out. Anyways, shift gear. Wow. Man, you can really feel the peak of the horsepower kicking out around 5,000 RPM or so, or when you get a little higher. I know what I read off earlier on Google, it said around 6,000, so I love to rev it out to 6. It doesn't really red line out until 6.5, going into 7 almost is where the red line is, but I really bet it feels good right there in that 6 on that magic number. I mean, that's your torque and your horsepower right all in them ranges from 4,000 to 6,000 RPM. Now we're gonna go ahead and pull into the gas station here for a moment. And, well, go ahead and drop it in first. And go ahead and hop out, pop the hood, take a look under the hood. Always like to see what's going on up under the car, you know, after revving it out and driving it for a minute. The e-brake feels a little easy to pull up on. That definitely probably needs to be tightened up of some sort. Well, I hope we get a lot of people watching the video of the Eclipse tonight. It's been quite some time since we've had a video that shot up over, 200,000 views or even 100,000 views. I'm still trying to figure out, what is the right car to get a good amount of views, And really, you never know. It's just kind of random. At least it seems that way. Now I'm gonna go ahead and put the. Now here's wow, wait. Now before I show you up under the hood, what I just saw is what I'm gonna tell you. This is why, folks, it is so important to pop the hood, look underneath, and even sometimes get down on the ground and looking up under the car. Because what I'm about to show you, I would have never knew this was going on. Stay with us. So here's a good looking GS Eclipse, right? You're like, man, this thing's pretty, right? White, got the cool graphics, tinted windows, good looking wheels. You're thinking, you're like, man, I could do so much to it. I could probably get it for a little bit less on the price. Whoa, what a nice little car, right? I like it. And hey, I like it too. And this might not be a deal breaker, but just a simple reason of why to look up underneath a car and maybe why it didn't sell at the previous car lot. Rust, R-U-S-T, and it's got it pretty heavy going on under here. Now, I've seen rust on cars before, but when it starts climbing all up into here and there, it's all over the header manifold thing. I mean, this is pretty damn not good, right? This is a lot of rust under here. I mean, it's even really kind of starting up on the intake. You got your nice engine intake there. You got your interstate battery. But definitely a lot of surface rust going on. Now, I don't think this is something that's going to necessarily hurt the car like today, tomorrow, next month, next year. But even right here, look at this. This tells you, folks, I mean, that hose has not been replaced in quite some time, because if it was replaced, a good mechanic would get new of these, and they're pretty rusted up there, rusted there. Wow, it's all up in here. The pole is rusted. I mean, I don't even rub my hand on there, and then now it's even getting up into here and there and everywhere. So, unfortunately, I hate to say it, but I just don't understand why the guys at my store don't maybe always look up under these cars. Well, I'll tell you why, probably because still, at whatever steal of a deal they got it for at the auction, it's still going to be a pretty decent car for somebody to buy and drive on a daily basis. Not everybody is going to be too concerned with that. And I know you may be thinking to yourself, well, Chad, that's a bunch of bullshit because everybody's concerned about rust. Well, maybe so, but there's people out there that are still going to buy this car, and some people may even strip it down and sand it down and respray it and get it all off of there. But anyways, let's have a little more in-depth look, because now I'm really getting interested to see what's going on, because I don't see any of it on the outside at all, Let's go ahead and pop our trunk for a moment. Should be able to open it up with the car just being unlocked. Where's your button at? Looks like our lights are absolutely out up under here. That light's not even on right now, and my goodness, there is rust all up under here. I know it's tough to see, but see if we can get a shot of that. You can tell right there, there's rust all up under here. So let's take a look up under the exhaust. Yep, it's on your muffler. It's all up under here. Okay, not too bad up under there, but it's there, and you can see it pretty prominently right there on your muffler. Okay, so it's definitely got an issue going on with rust. So what does that tell you, right? You're getting to thinking now, you're like, man, Chad, this has got to be a car from up north, right? Possibly. Could be a car from Florida, where some flooding happened. Could be a car from Louisiana. Nowadays, with all the floods and hurricanes and crazy things happening in the world, Rust can happen in all kinds of different places. You know, it doesn't have to be from up north due to the snow. So this is the point where you say, hey, all right, now I want to see a Carfax report on this vehicle, and I want to know where it's from. And you ask me, and I say, well, you know what? Unfortunately, I don't have an account with Carfax, so I can't tell you where it's from, okay? But I'm sure as long as I've been in the car business in Charleston here for 15 years, all on the East Coast, I'll find somebody to pull one up for you. How about that? Because I'm kind of curious myself at this point. So, what do you think? Would you buy this car? In the condition it is right now with the rust, but it drives good, it looks good, it sounds good, everything seems to be working good, but it's got the rust. It's got 83,000 miles. Man, you know, it's kind of sad because I'm thinking to myself the last few days when this car came in this past Friday. Now it is Tuesday. I'm like, wow, what a nice car. 83,000? Like, why couldn't the other dealership sell it? And then I start digging deeper, and there we go. But anyways, I still think it'll sell. I really do. And when the day comes where we sell it, I'll let you know. But let's go ahead and take it back down to the dealership. I'm going to roll our window down. I really want to hear the motor tonight on this car and see how it is. Here we go, right? Give it a minute. And of course, somebody would pull right in front of me while I'm getting ready to turn. Well, I tell you, it feels great, man. Feels like a little import tuner, and it drives great. I'm sorry to say it's got some rust on it, I really am, guys. But at least we got to test it out tonight, check it out, see what it's all about. What a beautiful night it is here in December 2018. It's just the beginning of the month. Already got the Christmas stuff up here on the highways, on the little, they got on the little poles out there where the lights are at. All the little stockings and different lights up, and such a beautiful time of year. I love Christmas time. But I don't know, when we get out, I'll talk to you and let you know what I think on my last thoughts about the Eclipse. All right, everybody, so last thoughts on the Eclipse here tonight. Would I buy this car? Well, most likely I would buy that car, okay? As in, like, no, I'm not gonna go buy that car right now and drive it, you know, like every day. But theoretically, you know, if I was in the market for an Eclipse and I was on a limited budget, or maybe even I was even just in the market for some kind of small import car, maybe my son wanted a car, my daughter wanted something sporty, you know, for under $5 grand, I would say, yeah, you know what? Not a bad car for the money. Of course, I'd always make an offer and look it up online, see what else they're going for out there in the marketplace, and then, you know, go from there. But if you can get over some of the rust issues that the car has, which has got some pretty major rust things going on under there, but I have seen a lot worse. But if you can get over that and make an offer on the car, I think it'd probably be a pretty decent car for you to drive for quite some time. Again, 83,000 miles, very low mileage on that engine. Of course, you know, there's gonna be things that are gonna need to be replaced on it, just like any other automobile out there. But compared to some of the other cars out here, and again, we got a lot of nice cars out here at our dealership right now, but I'd probably put that one in, at least out of 75 cars, it'd be in the top 15 vehicles we got on the lot right now. Thanks for watching, everybody. Have a great night. I'm Chad. Happy holiday season, and we'll see you on the next clip.